So the other day, I wanted to do kind of a look at this, the GoPro Karma, which may have been a bad decision to buy, but that's what we're going to have a look at. Unfortunately, I made some other bad decisions the other day and didn't put an SD card in the camera. I also forgot to hit record a couple times, so we missed a bunch of that. So we're redoing it. But here it is. The GoPro, I have this backwards. It definitely opens the other way. It's a little bit cooler today, and I'm going to leave everything in the car as best I can, keep batteries and things warm. But yeah, so I bought this for $400. It's used. What else is there to say about it? It wasn't really crashed or anything like that. The props were broken on it, but there's not a lot of damage on it. There's a scuff up here. I can't even see it. You probably can't either. But yeah, $400, and it came with a Hero 6 Black Edition. Everything's in there. Everything works. Everything's in pretty decent shape. So, and that's kind of why I wanted to buy it and do a video on it, because I know everybody likes to hate on this. They're like, oh, it's real shit and all that, but I kind of want to take a peek at it and see if it's as bad as everybody says. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say that this is like the best drone on the market, but they've definitely done some stuff right. Like the controller here, having it all as kind of a contained unit. You got the screen and everything. You don't have to use your phone. That is super nice. I'm hoping somebody will pick up where GoPro kind of failed and take the things they've done well and keep going with it, because that's really nice. Just the simplicity of it. It's just got a few buttons. You've got your tilt wheel for the camera, your record button, change mode button, that type of thing. And normally I'm a pincher when it comes to the race quads over there, or the freestyle quads. But this one being kind of like a game style pad, I really don't mind using just thumbs on it. As well, because it closes up and whatnot, it protects the screen, protects the gimbals and whatnot. It's really nice. The case that it comes with, the backpack, I actually thought this was going to be extremely uncomfortable to carry on your back, just because it's so flat. But it's not. It actually isn't too bad. It's not too heavy or anything like that. Works well enough, and the whole system folds up. The grip does its job. It stabilizes your camera if you're walking around with it, or if you've got Parkinson's disease. But yeah, I mean, overall, most of it seems to be pretty decent and stuff like that. The drone itself isn't too bad. I shouldn't skid it around on the roof of the car, probably. Oh, let's get rubber feet, it should be fine. Camera I really like. Just kind of, it makes it really hard to get the props in shot. Which I've flown a Phantom 4 Pro, and you can get the props in shot on that, and then it kind of, you get the rolling shutter effect going on, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But I mean, that's still a really good drone. I don't have one, but I've flown one and it recently, and it's really nice. But again, I got this for $400, and I mean, this thing got a lot of shit when it launched. I mean, it had the battery problem where the latch didn't quite work and the battery would shift and the drone would lose power and fall out of the sky. Obviously, very bad things. That being said, though, oh, we got somebody coming by here. Just let them go by. We're not doing anything, just standing here holding the camera. But anyhow, the big thing with... oh, they're driving back again. With these though is if somebody's looking for a drone or something like that cheap, these might be a really good option, because I feel like the price is probably going to come down on them, and they're not as bad as everybody says. But with that being said, let's get out and fly here.
I believe in the things you do. 'cause he ain't that nice. He won't do right, he'll leave a nasty cut. Oh, I cry until I just dissolve. Come and watch my heart turn to pulp like paper, paper love.
Alright, so it's the next day, and I had filmed a kind of an outro in the field talking about the Karma and my thoughts on it, but it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted to, and I think after editing some of the footage and stuff, I've kind of got my thoughts a little bit more in order what I want to say, because I want to make this concise, easy to understand why I think this is not a bad drone overall. As well, I'm using VSDC video editor now, which is good. I just upgraded and I'm just learning it now. This is the first time using it, so that I can get this out in 60 frames per second instead of, I don't know, Potato Vision using, I don't know, Microsoft Excel to edit videos, because that's what I don't have any experience in this. I'm completely new to this, learning it. I saw this on Flight Test. They, I don't know, sponsored a Flight Test video and stuff. So I'm trying it out. It's a free software, and it's, yeah, like I said, it's better than using Microsoft Word to edit your videos in. So that'll be good, hopefully. I'm looking forward to this, but for the GoPro Karma here, overall, it's a cool idea having the gimbal and the grip, the drone, kind of a whole system that you can kind of use and stuff like that. It's not just I have to buy a camera and gimbal for running around, and then I got a drone, and having a bunch of different stuff. It's neat that it's interchangeable, kind of. Oh man, it's probably going to be hard to see on the camera, but we'll see. The controller. I like the ergonomics of it. It feels nice. It's got that game style pad feel to it, which is really nice. Great for thumbers, and even if you're a pincher like me, when I fly freestyle, it's still very comfortable using your thumbs on it. The fact that it's a contained unit, and the screen's there, you don't have to use your phone. If you're somebody like me that uses a case like this, I don't think this works very well for DJI products, especially something like a Mavic or a Spark or those kind of controllers where you have little wings that fold out and you have to stick your phone up in there. I haven't actually tried using this with a DJI product. I'm going to shortly, hopefully, and see, but it's kind of an annoyance, I think. But I kind of understand why they do it as well. Although, again, this controller is slower to boot up. But you know, it's an extra 20 seconds longer that it takes to boot up. It's not a huge deal, I don't think. It's a mild inconvenience, in my opinion. But I think addressing the shortcomings of the Karma, which is lack of the guidance system, well, there was the whole recall thing as well with the battery to begin with. This is a newer one, it doesn't have that problem anymore. But it all, I think, comes down to the fact that they released this drone too soon. I think there should have been a little bit more research and development done on it, a little bit more testing, so they caught the battery problem ahead of time. And I think one thing they probably, well, I think this is where they're going with it. I think the camera you're using on the front to record you, or whatever you're recording, Nat Geo Potato Vision, because let's face it, you're never going to live up to Nat Geo with basically anything. But anyhow, I think they were going to use that camera, and all your brain box on here was going to be using the image captured from it to do some obstacle avoidance, at least frontward obstacle avoidance, as well as, you know, tracking you and stuff like that. And I think it does have a tracking function now, I believe, and I don't know if it's to the controller or if it actually uses the camera to see you, and that's how, and it follows you using image tracking like that. But I think that's maybe where they're going. I could be entirely wrong, but again, that comes down to they released it too soon before that software was ready. So I think it came out too soon. People latched onto, oh, it's crap, there's a recall, it falls out of the sky, which again is a bad thing. But in the end, I don't think it was it's a terrible product. The fact that it doesn't have sensors doesn't bother me a whole lot, just because I'm a very competent pilot generally. I'm not really too worried about flying this fairly close to trees and crashing it. I'm fairly confident in my abilities that I won't crash it, although famous last words. But, and that's one thing that kind of bugs me. Like, I don't want to say that DJI is bad, but I think it's too easy for people, anybody, to go out and buy a drone. It's got guidance on it and start flying it and stuff without really knowing how to fly. And what I mean by that is, you see a lot of new people where they're like, oh, it's got guidance and this and that, it's not going to hit anything. And if it gets too close to something, they just let go of the controller and they're like, it'll save itself, whatever. That's kind of the wrong way to do it. I think you should always actively be trying to keep the quad from crashing if the guidance is a backup, basically. And I think too many people use it as a crutch. They lean on it and they're just like, oh, it'll save me. And I think that's really the wrong way to look at it. Frankly, it would be nice to have on this, but I think it's something that it makes it too easy for people, and they get kind of complacent about it. Because frankly, if you do have a DJI product and it's flying toward a tree, if you just take your hands off the controller and the guidance doesn't work and it hits the tree, prop breaks or something, and it falls down, hits somebody in the head, it's your fault. So I think you should always actively be trying to avoid situations like that and to avoid collisions rather than relying on the obstacle avoidance system on them. And like I said, it's not bad that DJI has that. I just feel like people rely a little bit too much on it, whereas this does force you to actually, learn to fly. It holds position fairly well, I've found. It doesn't drift around too much, so it's not too hard to fly. But again, if you start getting close to things, you do have to make sure that if it's drifting toward it, that you correct it. If it's getting too close and stuff like that, if it doesn't auto-correct itself using GPS. But, and like I do want to point out, I'm not a huge fan of GoPro or anything like that. I've only ever had one GoPro product before. It was a Hero 3, I believe, and I sold it because it was too expensive, and I was worried about crashing it, so I got these SJ cams, because this is like $80, well actually, yeah, this one's got Wi-Fi, so this one's $80, but you can get them for $60. They do 1080 at 30 frames a second, and doesn't look quite as good as the GoPro ones and stuff like that at the same resolution and everything, but they're really good for beginners if you want something cheap to put on your quad to film, and then you can go back and watch it and be like, oh, I did this wrong, or this is how I'm doing this trick and this is how I should be doing it, that kind of thing. But if you crash, this is a way smaller investment, and this company does make actually better versions if you pay a bit more and stuff. They do have one that's comparable, I think, to like the Hero 5 Black Edition for like $150 or something like that. So like like I said, I'm not like a huge fanboy of GoPro or anything like that. I'm also not trying to like poo-poo DJI or anything like that. The main point I want to make is this is a decent drone. It has some shortcomings, but I think because these are probably going to drop in price, especially used ones. New ones might not. They'll probably they'll sell what they have, and then they might have a sale on toward the end, and they're just not going to be restocked because GoPro has said they're not going to keep making drones or something, as far as I'm aware. But the used ones and stuff, like this one is used, but like I said, I got this in an auction for $400, which I think is really low, actually. I'm pretty sure you're not going to generally be able to get the Hero 6 camera and this entire thing and whatnot for $400 regularly, but I think the used prices are going to fall, and I think they will be a viable drone, especially if you want to have the, what is this thing called? Oh, the grip. Yeah, as well, as an added piece and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, I think they're a good drone. I think they came out a little too early. Yeah, they did some stuff right, they did some stuff wrong. It is what it is, but in the long run, I think these will be something that if you have $400 or $500 and you can find one with a camera, whether it's a Hero 4, Hero 5, Hero 6, whatever, I think it'll be a decent investment to play with and to learn to fly on or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of my review of the GoPro Karma.